So guys, what if neglected Naruto is framed by Venelana movie? Naruto Gremory was in one of the open fields of the house training to master a new technique he had created. Beads of sweat poured down his shirtless torso as he kept going despite the exhaustion, having been at it for the past 5 hours. Naruto-tan. Searzex called out as he walked out of the castle to find his brother hard at work. Ni-san. What are you doing here? Naruto asked as he sat on the ground, materializing a bottle of water before pouring it over his head. You should take a break, you are going to work yourself to an early death at this rate, Searzex said as he joined his brother on the ground. I know, it's just that I want to show everyone that just because I didn't inherit the power of destruction that I am not weak, Naruto said. Naruto was born with high magical power just like his brother. The odd thing though was that he did not inherit the power of destruction that his brother did. Rather, he had a unique set of eyes that he instinctively knew the name of. His unique eyes, crimson red like his hair and 3 tomo in a circular pattern, called the Sharingan, granted him predictive vision and the ability to copy anything he saw if his body was up to the task, combined with the rigorous training he did, gave him the nickname the Untouchable. He could also cast powerful illusions with his eyes that could distract opponents. You know that it isn't true anymore. You are plenty strong, Naruto. In fact, you are stronger than me when I was your age, but it doesn't matter what others think. The most important thing is that you should be happy with what you have achieved, Searzex said. Yeah. I guess you're right, but I still want to see if this technique works, so I'll go back to training then, Naruto said as he got up and went back to training. I won't distract you then. Dinner is in 2 hours, make sure you shower before then. Mother won't be pleased if you are present in your current state. You remember what happened last time, Searzex chided. Yeah, I think my ear is still sore from that, Naruto said as Searzex gave him a wave before heading back into the castle. 3 years into civil war, damn it. Naruto growled out continuously as his fist contacted the wall of Gremory Castle, blood oozing from his knuckles as cracks appeared in the wall. A now 28-year-old Naruto Gremory, dressed in his special combat attire which consisted of a long-sleeve black muscle shirt tucked into black combat slacks. Combat boots with tape to secure the pants down, the sleeves were rolled so that they covered 3/4 of his arm. He wore fingerless gloves with a metal plate on the back. Over that he wore a black flak vest that had multiple pouches. Strapped to his back was his trusty katana and around his waist was a large multi-purpose pouch for supplies. He had matured well, his spiky hair striking an odd balance between looking messy and neat with 2 chin-length bangs framing his face. The Civil War had officially started 3 years ago. The descendants of the original Satans and their followers wanted to resume the Great War while another group of devils were against it since it would lead the devils to ruin. Naruto was an anti-Satan faction fighter and had quickly gained fame in the group despite his young age. He was one of the aces of the group together with his brother Searzex and his brother's good friend, Ajuka. He had mastered many different forms of magic with a particular specialty in fire and wind that rivaled the Phoenix House, water that rivaled the sea tree, and unparalleled mastery in lightning magic. His unique technique, the lightning armor, made him one of, if not the fastest devils. In addition to boosting his speed and reaction time, the lightning armor also boosted his strength and durability to scary levels, making him a feared combatant in the field. Naruto, there you are. You can't keep blaming yourself. You tried your best, Searzex said as he finally found his brother after the tragic battle that had just happened. It was my fault. If I had been faster, I could have saved him. I failed, brother. We promised each other that we would make sure we had each other's backs so that we could come home safely, but I failed to keep my promise, Naruto said as he started crying, a burning sensation in his eyes. You can't keep blaming yourself for Takeo's death. He wouldn't want you to be like this. You did your best, Searzex said, trying to comfort his brother. One of the anti-Satan faction camps had been attacked and many lives were lost, one of which was an extra devil named Takeo. Takeo was one of Naruto's best friends and was like a brother in all but blood, so the loss was painful. But if I was faster, he could have been saved. If I wasn't taking a break when the attack started, I could have been there to help them, Naruto said as blood started leaking from his eyes. And do what? Die valiantly with them. You may be strong, but even you cannot take on an entire battalion by yourself, brother. Now let me take a look at your eyes. They are bleeding, Searzex said, his initially angry tone softening when he saw his younger brother in pain. I am fine, Naruto said as he opened his eyes, his normal 3 tomo pattern shifting into something like an atom with 3 ellipses stacked together. Where are you going? Searzex asked, concerned for his brother. To make myself able to kill a battalion so this does not happen again, Naruto said as he went off to train to prevent such a thing from happening again. 5 years into civil war, after that incident, Naruto had become much more powerful. The trauma from seeing his dead friend had somehow resulted in an evolution of his eyes into a stage called the Mangekyo Sharingan. He had the ability to use and control black flames that were hotter than any member of the House of Phoenix, and his flames burned continuously for 7 days and 7 nights. With no amount of water being able to put them out, he also gained the ability to manifest a giant ethereal warrior made of energy to fight. He had also delved into time-space magic, trying to come up with a way to make a battle-capable teleportation technique that would eclipse his current top speed using the lighting armor. Searzex, Ajuka, Serafal and their team were stuck between a rock and a hard place. They had been tipped off on a possible supply route used by the Old Satan faction and had hoped to end the war faster by cutting off the Old Satan faction's supplies, but it had been a trap, and now 2 whole battalions of the Old Satan faction had them trapped with no possible point of escape. About half their team had already been killed off, and the remainder were now hiding behind a cliff, waiting for the inevitable end. It seems like this would be the end. It's been good serving with all of you, Ajuka said. It would seem so, old friend, Searzex replied. The feeling is mutual, Serafal stated. If we go down, at least we go down with a bang, Searzex said before an object fell out of his pocket. It was a knife, except this was no ordinary knife. First off, it had 3 prongs and a thick wooden handle that had some sort of runic array. Searzex remembered that it was something Naruto had given him for use in emergencies. What is this, brother? Searzex asked as he took a strange-looking knife from Naruto. That is a key piece for a new technique that I am working on. If I can get it to work as well as my theories, then I will finally be able to fulfill my promise of being capable of killing battalions, Naruto said with a hint of pride. How does it work? Searzex asked. I haven't really worked it out yet, but basically you just have to be thrown it down and I can be there in an instant, Naruto said. Might as well give it a shot, Searzex thought as he threw the knife into the ground, surprising both Serafal and Ajuka. Searzex, what was that? Ajuka asked, his curiosity piqued by the runic array present on the knife. I don't know. Naruto said to throw it down in case of an emergency. He said that was the key to his newest technique, Searzex said. Just as he finished that sentence, there was a crimson flash and Naruto appeared next to them. What was that? And how did you get here so quickly? Serafal asked as she landed unceremoniously on her butt after jumping in the air from shock. No time to explain. I need you all to follow my instructions carefully, Naruto said as he emptied the contents of his pack, revealing more of the odd 3-pronged knives. Alright then, I'll trust you to handle this, Searzex said. When I give the signal, I need you to throw these around the battlefield. Accuracy does not matter. What we need is coverage, Naruto said as he distributed the knives out. Alright, we are set, Searzex said as everyone got ready to throw the knives. Here goes nothing, Naruto said as he charged power to his right eye. Closing it, he faced the oncoming enemies and opened his eye, focusing on the center of the enemy forces. From the focus point of his right eye, a column of black flames emerged, burning to death the enemies that were caught in the area. Now, Naruto shouted as the Old Satan faction forces were forced to separate to avoid the black flames. A rain of metal fell on the battlefield with a few of the knives impaling enemies while most landed harmlessly in the ground. Ha ha ha. Was that your desperate last attempt? Now we get to kill all the aces of the anti-Satan faction, and with this a new war can begin, the leader of the enemy forces proclaimed. Don't blink now, Naruto said simply as he held a sword in each hand, focusing lightning magic through the blades to make them sharper. Then he was gone in a flash of red, and what followed was possibly the greatest massacre anyone could see. There were flashes of red all around the enemy forces as Naruto picked them apart. He appeared wherever a kunai was and decimated any nearby force before appearing at another location in an instant. My word. Ajuka managed to mutter while his 2 companions still had their jaws on the floor. So this is the power of time-space magic, Searzex muttered, having been made aware of what his younger brother had been up to recently. Your brother has been dabbling in time-space magic. That certainly explains how he is doing this, Ajuka said. I don't understand, isn't he just moving really fast? Serafal asks. No, he is essentially teleporting from location to location. That is how he is able to change his orientation without any loss in momentum and how he can change directions without repercussion, Ajuka explained. Those knives act as markers, I presume? Searzex asks as he watched the last few enemies be killed off. I would think so. They give off a marking pulse that tells him where to emerge. The specifics of this technique are fascinating, and to be able to create something so formidable so quickly, he is nothing short of a prodigy, Ajuka said as Naruto appeared next to them. Well, that takes care of that problem. Come on, let's go home, Naruto said as he cleaned the blood from his blade. From that battle, Naruto earned the moniker of the Red Flash and also the name Crimson Reaper. With the deployment of the Flying Thunder God technique as it came to be named, the anti-Satan faction was making a strong push against the old Satan faction. They were able to quickly send aid as each person carried a marker on their person, allowing entire squads to be teleported behind enemy lines or allow the transport of supplies. Within a year from that battle, the civil war had come to an end and Searzex, Ajuka, Serafal, Falbium and Naruto were praised as the heroes of Devilkind. It was also after the war that it was discovered that Naruto's eye powers had a steep cost. A year after the end of the civil war. So what is the diagnostic doc? Venelana asks as her son walked out of the room. He had been acting strange towards the end of the war and the Gremory had suspected that it had something to do with his eyes. Do you want the bad news or the worse news? The doctor said. Just tell them. I can't hide it anymore it seems, Naruto said a little annoyed since he never enjoyed going to any treatment facility. Your son is going blind, the doctor said. What? Why? When? The family asked in shock. Apparently the usage of my eye powers heavily during the war has damaged them and I will eventually go blind. My vision is already blurry as is and if I stop using my eyes it is estimated that my vision will deteriorate gradually till I go completely blind in 30 years, Naruto said. Is there anything that could be done? Lord Gremory asks. Unfortunately no, his eyes are unique and we don't know what could happen if we tried anything but we will keep looking into this, the doctor assured. After that, Naruto was constantly coddled by his parents and they forbade him from fighting in any of the side skirmishes that had been occurring with the other factions as well as the old Satan faction that still refused to accept defeat. It was one night that Naruto had a vision. In his vision he saw a man with similar eyes to his own in battle with someone with what seemed like a multi-headed and multi-handed fox avatar. Beyond that he saw a wizened old man with purple eyes that had concentric circles in a ripple pattern. Following that vision, he would receive glimpses of events that he had no recollection of going through yet he experienced them in vivid detail as though he had gone through those events. After many nights of said vision, Naruto finally resolved to try and find the meaning behind his eyes and hopefully a cure to his blindness. He believed the answer lay with the old man who had purple eyes with concentric circles in them, so one night he just up and left his family, leaving a note telling him that he had left. Dear mother, father and brother, I am sorry to not be able to say goodbye in person but I know that if I had done that then you would never allow me to leave. I need to go and explore the world and find the truth behind my eyes. I also want to do some soul searching after all that I experienced during the war. So please understand and leave me be till I find my answer. I promise that I will return back to your side once more. This isn't goodbye, it's until we meet again. Naruto Gremory. What do we do? Venelana acts almost hysterically as her youngest son had mysteriously disappeared. We should send people to look after him and bring him back, Lord Gremory said. No father we should leave him alone, Searzex said. Are you serious? But what if something bad happens to him? Lord Gremory said with worry evident in his voice. He will be fine, we just need to have faith in him like we always do. Naruto is not one to do things without reason. If he needs to be alone then we should leave him be, he will return, Searzex said resolutely as the family's thoughts drifted off to their youngest member. Naruto Gremory felt the sun's rays stream through his bedroom window. He tried to ignore the annoying light and return back to his peaceful slumber but failed to do so. He blinked his eyes a few times to adjust to the change in light before fully taking in his surroundings. He was currently in his house in yokai territory. He smiled as he looked down to a mop of golden hair that belonged to his first love and first peerage member, his queen, Yusaka, a Kyuubi and the former leader of the yokai faction. The two of them had met when Naruto was traveling with a person who had taken on a similar place in his life as Takeo once did. A brother in all but blood, at first he and Menma were like rivals but beyond that they had some inexplicable bond between them that was eventually explained at the apex of the secret war. At that time, Naruto was journeying across the lands. Trying to find the truth behind his eyes, he decided to follow Menma and his teacher at that time, one of the three legendary yokai, Jiraiya the Toad Sage. He bumped into Yusaka while they were in Kyoto when she was still just a new ruler of the Kyoto yokai faction. The two instantly hit it off and not long after Naruto and Menma returned from the war, Yusaka stepped down from her post so that she could spend her time with Naruto, handing the post over to Menma. Thinking about Yusaka and how the two met made him think about his decision to revive her as his queen. Not long after he had left, his brother had taken the title of Lucifer while Ajuka took the title of Beelzebub. Ajuka had developed something called the Evil Pieces system in order to try and bolster the decline in devil population caused by the war by reviving other races as devils. He recalled having returned to the underworld for a short while to meet up with his parents and gain a set of evil pieces from himself just a month ago. It's been a while, Ajuka, a disembodied voice said as Ajuka was working in his private lab. Who's there? What is your intention of sneaking up on me? Ajuka spoke as he flared his aura. A whirling black vortex appeared in the room and a familiar person emerged from it. Now, there is no need for hostility. I am after all the younger brother of your best friend, Naruto said as he materialized fully in the room. Naruto. It's been quite a long time, where have you been? Are you back for good now? Ajuka asked as he gave a hug to the person he saw as a younger brother. Unfortunately, there are still things that I need to do. I was actually looking to get a set of evil pieces from you, Naruto said. Yes, of course, Ajuka said as he retrieved a box from his shelf that had Naruto's name on it together with the Gremory family insignia. Thanks. I am surprised you had one ready for me already. I presume that I just need to hand the piece to someone then say the ritual words for it to work. Naruto said as he opened the box, the king piece melding with his body. Yes, your set is special. It is one of the original sets that have fewer limits as compared to the newer sets that are issued, and it seems that most of your pieces have undergone some sort of change, not unlike a mutation piece but different at the same time, Ajuka said as Naruto's pieces radiated with power. I see. That would make sense since some greedy devils would probably get themselves killed trying to convert high-profile and strong people. Anyway, I shall see you around, Ajuka, Naruto said before he was consumed by a swirling black vortex and left the room. The Gremory family was currently enjoying a short tea break, with Sirzex being present as well to have some form of respite from his duties as Lucifer. They saw a black vortex appear in the room and were immediately on guard. Hello Ka-san, Tu-san, Ni-san, Naruto said as he appeared in the room. Naruto. You have returned. Lord Gremory said, my baby boy is back, Venelana said as tears of joy flowed from her violet orbs. It's good to see you again, little brother, Sirzex said as the family shared a hug. I am sorry for just leaving like that. Unfortunately, I am not here to stay, Naruto said seriously. Why not, son? What about your condition? Lord Gremory asks. There are still things I need to do, and do not worry. My eyesight has been fully restored. In fact, my eyes are more powerful than ever before, Naruto said as his eyes changed from their regular blue-green into his Mangekyo form that now had a tri-bladed pinwheel in the overlapped ellipses. Then his eyes shifted once more as it turned completely purple with 4 concentric circles in a ripple pattern and 6 tomo, 3 on each of the 2 innermost rings. His family could feel the power practically radiating from his eyes. When will you be able to return to us for good? Venelana asks, sad that her son couldn't stay. I have some loose ends to tie up and I also need to gather my peerage. I should be able to return after that. I decided to drop by since I just received my evil pieces from Ajuka. Well then, this is till we meet again, Naruto said before he disappeared in a swirling vortex. Penny for your thoughts, dear. Yusaka asks as she snapped Naruto out of his musing, pressing her voluptuous body against him and tracing the many scars that now littered his body. It was nothing, Yusaka-chan, just thinking, that's all, Naruto said, trying to drop the subject. You had that look again that usually comes only on that day. Something is bothering you, Yusaka said, her expression telling him that she demanded an answer. It seems that I cannot hide anything from you, my queen, Naruto said with a half-hearted chuckle. I wouldn't be a good queen if I couldn't understand my king well, Yusaka said. Home, Naruto replied. If you are so eager about getting home, then why don't we get started on building that peerage of yours? Yusaka said as she got up into a sitting position, giving Naruto an eyeful of her cleavage since they both slept naked. I guess you are right. We should get started on that soon, Naruto said as he got up and the two went to shower together to prepare for their journey. Well, this is goodbye for now, I guess, Menma, Naruto said as he gave a firm handshake and brotherly hug to the current leader of the yokai faction. Naruto was dressed in black pants and combat boots with a long-sleeved dark gray shirt together with a light blue formal vest. He had fingerless gloves and a pouch around his waist. Over that he had a black cloak and his katana was strapped to his side behind him by a string across his torso. His hair was drastically different now as it covered one eye and was less spiky than it was in the past. I hope you will come visit again, brother, and take good care of Yusaka, Menma said. Menma was dressed in black pants and black combat boots. He had an orange shirt with black stripes at the cuffs and bottom, and over that he wore a white cape that had white flames on the bottom. His blonde hair was spiky light. Naruto's was in the past except without the chin-length bangs framing his face. Thank you for your hospitality all this time, Menma-sama, Yusaka said with a polite bow as she wore her usual shrine maiden outfit but with a black cloak over top to help disguise her features and also mask her energy signature. It was no problem at all, Yusaka. Have a safe trip, Menma said. Come, Yusaka-chan. I have found an interesting world to visit, Naruto said as he created a purple portal using a shadow clone of himself. They gave one last wave goodbye to Menma before disappearing through the portal for parts unknown. Freezing world. Naruto and Yusaka stood atop a skyscraper some distance away as human females who had undergone enhancement to become Pandora battled with an alien creature known as a Nova. He watched with a blank face as the Pandora tried and failed to deal any lasting damage to the new Nova class that appeared. What finally piqued Naruto's interest was a new arrival. She wore a different outfit than the other Pandora, consisting of a long flowing blue dress. What intrigued Naruto was how she was able to figure out how to deal lasting damage to the Nova. It seems she has quite the skill set, Naruto mused. Are you looking to recruit her, Naruto-kun? Yusaka asks. Yes, it would seem that these stigmata have their drawbacks. They can exert their own influence on the person since they act as external matter. Interesting. I wonder what will happen when I revive her, Yusaka-chan. I want you to dispose of that thing. I will cast an illusion on the people in the area, Naruto said as he looked up at the moon, his eyes morphing into the Rinnegan. Hi, Naruto-kun. I await your signal, Yusaka said as she prepared her foxfire. Tsukuyomi. Naruto muttered as he focused on the moon, using it to cast a wide-range illusion that would prevent anyone from noticing them. To most people, it would seem that Kazuha had taken out the Nova in a suicide attack that would claim her life, but there would be no body. Yusaka used this to jump in and destroy the Nova using her foxfire to destroy the Nova's core. Kazuha was on the ground in pain as several blade-like appendages jutted out of her back. Do you want to live? Naruto asked as he approached Kazuha. Who are you? Kazuha responded, who I am is not important right now, but what is important is your decision. Do you want to live? I can save you if you want me to, Naruto said. Please do. I cannot leave my little brother alone, Kazuha managed to say as her vision was blurry. Such a pure soul. If the angels could bolster their numbers, you would have probably been selected to be one of them. Now then, you shall be reborn as my knight. Rejoice with your new life, Naruto said as he converted Kazuha into his knight. He left the scene with her unconscious body to help heal any injuries that might still lingering while planning what else to do in this world. 6 years after Kazuha became a devil, inside a room of a quaint little two-story house located not far from West Genetics Academy. Moans and the lewd sound of flesh smacking against flesh could be heard as Naruto sawed into Kazuha while making out with Yusaka. They were currently enjoying some alone time and Yusaka already had her turn. The white cream leaking from between her legs evidence of their earlier actions. Naruto groaned as he felt his member being wrapped around Kazuha's warmth as she bounced up and down, her breasts moving hypnotically as Naruto met her movements with his own upward thrust. Kazuha-chan, I can't hold on anymore, Naruto groaned as he felt a familiar pressure build up within him. I can't hold on much longer too. Do it inside please, fill me up with your seed Naruto-sama. Kazuha screamed out as her orgasm hit her, her inner muscles squeezing Naruto's member, milking his seed as Naruto pumped his hot baby batter deep into her core. It has been 6 years since Kazuha had been brought back as Naruto's knight. After clarifying things with Dr. Gengo Aoi, they came up with a cover story on how Kazuha was able to survive. Something that was easily done since her body was never found and with the help of some clever illusions on Naruto's part. Kazuha had adapted well to the life of a devil and given her already vast skill set. Was a formidable knight, since becoming a devil, the stigmata implanted within her had become a part of her body, thus preventing any risk of her turning into Nova. In fact, it made her stronger than ever before. Over that 6 years, Kazuha had fallen for Naruto, who had become her limiter to allow her freedom of movement. Although she was a little put off by the concept of sharing him with Yusaka, she eventually accepted that she would have to share him since his power would naturally attract people to him. The three were currently having their usual sessions to deepen their relationship and also to relieve any stress. Kazuha had graduated from Genetics Academy now and decided to be a member of the reserve forces so that she could dedicate more time to serving Naruto. It seems that she had developed an odd masochistic kink over time and would always want to be dominated by Naruto during their sexual acts. Kazuha fell onto Naruto's chest as she felt the warmth from her core. She felt Naruto's hand stroke her hair gently. She snuggled into his chest as she let out a content sigh from his comforting touch. Kazuha-chan, your brother starts at West Genetics Academy today, right? Naruto asks. Yes, he left for the campus yesterday. Today should be his first school day. I hope he can fit in. Aside from you two, he doesn't really get to know other people, Kazuha said, her thoughts drifting off to her younger brother. I am sure he will be fine. The issue is his powers though, given his much higher stigmatic body percentage as compared to you. I would think that he might face great risks with his powers, Naruto said. But grandfather said that there should be no issues given that his situation is different from mine due to gender, Kazuha stated. Is there anyone else that you want in your peerage from this world, Naruto-kun? Yusaka asks. Yes, there is one. One of the legendary Pandoras, Naruto stated. One of my aunts? Kazuha wondered. Yes, her name is Lucy, I believe. LP number 004. I think she would make a fine addition to my peerage as a bishop, Naruto said as he materialized the file on her. So when will you be asking grandfather to let you convert her? Kazuha asks. Soon, my dear. There is no need to rush. We have after all agreed to help out with the problem of the Nova, Naruto said. Time skip end of Nova attack on humanity. Well then I guess this is goodbye, Naruto said to the others as he opened up a portal to enter another dimension. Will I ever get to see you again, Nei-san? Kazuya asks as he regarded his sister who was about to leave, possibly for good. Maybe, but do not worry. Even if we do not see each other again, we will always be together in our hearts. Satellaizer. I leave my brother in your care. If anything happens to him, Kazuha said with a sickly sweet smile that made Satellaizer nod her head immediately in fear. Take care, Lucy. Thanks for all your help, Naruto, Doctor, Aoi said as he gave his daughter a hug. It was no problem. It was definitely a fun 10 years here, Naruto said. Where will we be going now, Naruto-kun? Lucy asked as she went to Naruto's side after saying goodbye to her sisters. Lucy had somehow made an instant connection with Naruto and was more than happy to accept the position of his bishop. At first it was hard to communicate with the girl who seemed to be able to show little emotion. Choosing instead to express herself through more physical means, but Naruto managed to get her to open up and now she could act like a normal person and was better able to express herself, although Naruto sighed to himself at how he seemed to be adding more people to his harem. Of course Lucy was not as adverse to the concept of sharing as Kazuha initially was since she had little to no social development before being turned into a devil. Well, it's been an interesting ride with all of you, from the 10th Nova clash to Alaska to the attack by the Busters and to the final battle. There was never a boring moment here, but we should be going. Goodbye, Naruto said with a final wave before jumping through the portal, his peerage close behind him as they went on their next adventure. Sekirei World. Naruto and his peerage stood on top of one of the skyscrapers overlooking Shinto Tito as they discussed the information they had gathered of this world. Years ago, an alien ship with beings called Sekirei landed on an island. The current MBI was the first to discover the ship and make use of its technology for profit. The Sekirei had come to Earth seeking out their Ashikabi or destined ones, and the CEO of MBI, one Hiroto Manaka, had decided to make a game out of it, and that did not sit well with Naruto, so Naruto had decided to throw a wrench in his plans. But the first thing on the agenda was to try and seek out the Sekirei that was having a reaction to him. At Izumo Inn, Mia could not believe the feeling that she was having at the moment. Her whole body was heating up. She knew the feeling, being the Sekirei pillar, but she had not thought it to be possible. She was reacting to someone, but as the Sekirei pillar that should not be possible given her power level. She tried to reach out to the person she was reacting to, calling him to her. It filled her with an unbelievable sense of glee that she would have an Ashikabi, but at the same time a sense of dread filled her. What kind of person is her Ashikabi? What plans did he have for the Sekirei race? With Naruto and his peerage. They were currently traversing the territory of Shinto Tito, heading towards the place where Naruto felt the Sekirei reacting to him was. They arrived outside an inn and Naruto confirmed that this was where the reaction was strongest. Deciding that they needed a place to stay for now anyway, Naruto gave a knock and greeting, seeing no harm in trying. Mia picked herself up and went to answer the door. She could feel the reaction becoming stronger as she got closer to the entrance of the inn. When she arrived at the entrance to greet her guests, she came upon a handsome young man in his 20s with blue-green eyes and crimson hair. Upon laying her eyes upon him, Mia felt the heat grow stronger. She tried to compose herself as she took note of the 3 female companions together with the male. Yes, can I help you? Mia asks. We were looking for a place to stay and saw the sign. Are any rooms still available? Naruto asked while walking nearer to the woman, confirming his suspicion that this was the Sekirei he was reacting to. Yes, it still is. Mia said, asking for his name without actually asking the question. The name's Naruto, Naruto said with a warm smile. Mia was unable to control herself any longer and approached him, placing her hands on his cheeks, causing Naruto to raise an eyebrow before she crashed her lips to his. A massive burst of energy was released by both Naruto and Mia as their energies seemed to mingle and join together. Radiant purple wings of light emerged from Mia's back as their lips finally parted. Sekirei number 01. Mia. My blade shall cut down the enemies of my Ashikabi. I am yours forever, my destined one. Mia said as the energy died down. It seems like I was right. You were the one reacting to me, although I am surprised to find out the Sekirei pillar is the one that reacted to me, Naruto mused. You knew. But how? Mia wondered. Simple. The bond is a two-way street, my dear. Now then, we can discuss more inside, Naruto said as Mia agreed and led them inside, where he promptly put up privacy seals and began the long discussion and explanation. Okay, so let me get this straight. You are all devils with Naruto as your king or master. You came here from another dimension because you wanted to gather members for your peerage, and when you were searching for a suitable place you happened to discover a weak link to me, and that brought you here, Mia said as she summarized everything that she had learned thus far. That is basically it. So do you accept my offer of becoming my second knight? Naruto asks as he summoned his knight piece. Before I accept, what do you intend to do with regard to the Sekirei plan? Mia asks. Simple. I intend to end this. I know of the kill switch and fear not. I have the perfect plan to stop this. I promise you the Sekirei will be free to find their destined ones, Naruto replied. Then I accept your offer. I vow to protect you with everything that I have as your knight, my Ashikabi-sama, Mia said. Very well then, Mia. I order you return to this world as my knight. Rejoice with the new life that you have been granted, Naruto said as he finished converting Mia into a devil. So what happens now? Mia asks as she felt a lightness unlike anything before. She felt the bond with her Ashikabi become even stronger than what it was before. Now we plan to stop the Monaka and his stupid game, Naruto said with a sly grin. Time skip. 10 years after arrival to the world of Sekirei. Within a year after Mia's winging by Naruto and subsequent conversion into his knight, Naruto had successfully foiled Monaka's game. He had forced the game to speed up with the help of his peerage such that Monaka was forced to reveal his true intentions before he used Mia's dormant link to all Sekirei as their pillar to free any of the Sekirei that were forcibly winged, adding an additional safety that would prevent any future forced winging. The Jinki had been destroyed and any evidence of the Sekirei had been wiped out with the help of a worldwide illusion. Now the Sekirei were able to find their destined ones just as Naruto had promised Mia. Naruto had decided to travel the world here since it was so similar to his old one without the supernatural factions or alien threats, so the group traveled the world for 9 years and now it was finally time to leave after finding another world that interested them. Where are we going off to now, Naruto-kun? Yasaka asks as she leaned her head against Hit's shoulder. As his harem was starting to grow with the addition of Mia, he had come up with an agreement that Yasaka would be the alpha in the harem given how long they had known each other, and they had also come up with a sharing schedule. Well, there is another world that has caught my interest, Naruto said as he materialized a portal to another world. What is so special about this world, Naruto-sama? Lucy and Kazuha asks. Well, this world has yokai like our original world, but that is all they have. They do not have any supernatural factions, and rather than the Kyuubi being the top of the food chain, the Shinso vampires are at the top. One Shinso vampire in particular interests me greatly, Naruto said. I am looking forward to exploring and learning about other worlds, Mia said. Well then, let's get going, Naruto said as he jumped through the portal together with his peerage. World of Rosario Vampire. This isn't going very well at all. Alucard and his forces have managed to separate us. What am I going to do now? Akasha Bloodriver thought to herself as she waited for the impending enemy forces. A purple portal appeared in front of her and out stepped a crimson-haired young man followed by 4 women behind him. Why hello there, miss. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, Naruto said while grabbing Akasha's hand and planting a delicate kiss on her knuckles. Akasha felt heat rise up to her cheeks as she had to admit that the young man in front of her was definitely attractive. She pulled away and took a battle stance. Who are you and what is your business here? Akasha said. Relax. I mean you no harm. If you don't believe me, why don't you just drink my blood? You can learn information by drinking blood, can you not? Naruto said as he tilted his head to allow her to see his bare neck. Akasha subconsciously licked her lips as she found the thought of drinking blood enticing since it had been some time since her last drink. She begrudgingly accepted the offer, giving a tentative lick before sinking her teeth into the flesh. As the blood poured into her mouth, she found the taste addictive and the power of the man before her intoxicating. Her instincts demanded for her to take the man before her as a mate, but she fought it off, and after having her fill she regarded the man after sifting through the information she gained. I guess I owe you an apology, but what are you doing here, devil? Akasha asks, her poise still relatively guarded. My name is Naruto Gremory and I am here to make you an offer to become a rook in my peerage. Even if you do refuse, I would still like to aid you in ending this war because I despise conflict and the loss it brings, Naruto said. I will think about your offer, Naruto. I am Akasha Bloodriver, Akasha said. Even if you refuse, Akasha, there will be no bad blood. I respect everyone's freedom of choice and would never force you to join me nor join me out of any misplaced sense of obligation, Naruto said. He introduced the other members of his peerage before they got to work dealing with the impending enemy forces. Time skip with the help of Naruto and his peerage. The war with Alucard was quick to end and the Shinso was sealed away for good with a seal that was designed to sap away his strength to power the seal, thus creating a never-ending loop that would prevent his escape. Akasha had become addicted to the taste of Naruto's blood and Naruto was more than happy to oblige for a drink. After much thought, Akasha accepted the offer of becoming his rook and even went so far as to mark him as her mate. Of course, recognizing that she would have to share him with the other women. Naruto had made it expressly clear that Yusaka was the alpha in the harem and Akasha didn't really mind so long as Naruto loved her and allowed her to drink his blood. It was now more than 30 years since Naruto and Yusaka had first left their world and Naruto felt that it was finally time to return back to their own world. He opened up a portal and leapt through it, his peerage following behind him. They appeared in a forest clearing that was some distance away from the base in Kyoto so as not to attract attention. Naruto-kun, that magic circle. Yusaka trailed off as a blue magic circle appeared and from it emerged a beautiful blue-haired woman with a voluptuous figure wearing a white button shirt that had the top 3 buttons undone, showing a great deal of cleavage and a tight skirt that barely reached her knees. Who was that Naruto-kun? Mia asked, her stance tense as she felt the power from the person that came through the portal. The rest of the peerage members shared a similar sentiment as they prepared themselves for battle. The female dragon king Tiamat, also known as the Chaos Karma Dragon. What are you doing here? Naruto asked as his hand hovered over his sword. Your power interests me greatly, you have a great amount of power. So much so that you are undetectable to anyone less than ultimate class due to your power being unfathomable by them. I also detected a great deal of chaos from here so I was curious, and here I find a devil that has been crossing dimensions, most intriguing. I shall have you entertain me devil, Tiamat said as she appeared before Naruto, covering the distance in an instant, surprising Naruto who had not been expecting her to move that fast. He could barely register anything before he felt the world spin and he was a different location alone with Tiamat. What do you want from me Dragon King? Naruto asked taking a stance but nor bothering with a sword since he knew a regular blade would hardly be useful against a dragon. I would like to test your power, that is all, Tiamat stated simply. Then how about we have a little wager? Naruto said. A wager? Go on, Tiamat replied. If I can interest you enough then I want you to join my peerage as my second rook, Naruto said. Let's see if you can survive this devil, Tiamat said as she blurred towards Naruto. This time Naruto was ready for her speed and made his body intangible. Tiamat's attack passing harmlessly through him as he leapt backwards to give himself some room, given a glimpse of his power. Tiamat's dragon instincts were screaming to her to take this handsome young devil as her mate to give her progeny. She shook of those thoughts as she continued to glare at the devil. His power was much greater than hers, it felt like a massive ocean, a feeling comparable to Ophis and Great Red and one other person currently in the world. You are definitely strong, as expected of the strongest Dragon King. If I didn't have my reflexes or my time-space migration, I might have died, Naruto said. Enough talking devil, show me what you've got, Tiamat growled out. I really do not want to hurt a pretty woman such as yourself so I will try my best to subdue you peacefully. Adamantine ceiling chains, Naruto said as he slammed his hand into the ground. A magic circle appeared below Tiamat and chains emerged. The chains wrapped around her body and she could feel her energy slowly being sapped away by the chains. Tiamat knew that she could break the chains easily, after all they were not meant to be a permanent form of restraint, but she refused because Naruto had unknowingly flipped her switch and turned her on. Naruto raised a brow in confusion when he saw that Tiamat was not struggling against the chains, although they did use the energy absorb as reinforcement. A simple burst of power could overload the chains and free her. He tilted his head in bewilderment when she mouthed something and had a faint blush on her face. What did you just say? Naruto said, not understanding what was happening. Tighter, Tiamat muttered in a meek voice. All the previous confidence and animosity in her voice was gone. The chains. Make them tighter, Tiamat demanded. Naruto took a step back in shock but complied nonetheless. Figuring out what was going on and both cursing and praising his luck, it seemed that the women he encountered were either closet masochists or they were prudes that became sexual deviants in the room. It would seem that Tiamat was a closet masochist judging by her flushed face as the chains tightened around her body. Naruto could not help but smirk now that he had the Dragon King eating out of the palm of his hand. So you want me to tie you up, eh, you naughty Dragon King? Naruto said with a grin as he tightened the chains further, drawing moans from Tiamat. Yes. Give me more. Tie Tiamat up more. Tiamat said as she writhed in pleasure and her moans were increasing in volume. Naruto shifted the position of the chains into a more classic rope bondage style that he had used on Kazuha and Lucy before, causing the Dragon King to let out lewd moans as her large breasts were restrained by the chains and her womanhood was being teased a chain around her crotch. My, what a naughty Dragon King you are, Naruto said with a smirk as he snapped his fingers, making them both naked. Tiamat could not help but stare at his massive member which was rock hard. She licked her now dry lips. So Tiamat, if you agree to become my rook, I promise to please you and you will become one of my mates. Your arousal is quite evident now, Naruto said as he walked towards Tiamat, willing the chains to move her arms behind her back. Tiamat managed to give him a weak glare but Naruto could tell it was just a false defiance. He appeared behind the Dragon King, his left hand toying with her breasts, tweaking her nipples occasionally. His right hand manipulated the chain around her dripping snatch causing more of her juices to flow out. Never. Tiamat will never become a servant to some devil no matter how powerful and good-looking you are, Tiamat said, trying to sound defiant but her voice had taken a much higher pitch ever since her switch had been flipped. She had also taken to referring to herself in the third person. She growled when she felt the chains loosen. Oh well then, we could have enjoyed so much fun together in our S&M plays. After all, 2 members of my peerage are masochists too, so I do know how to please people like you, Naruto said as the chains were slowly starting to let go of Tiamat. Tiamat has been a bad dragon and needs to be punished before she can serve you, Naruto-sama. Please punish this naughty Dragon King and make her your slave, Tiamat cried out, finally giving in to her instincts. With pleasure my dear, Naruto said as he tightened the chains once more. He converted Tiamat into his rook before proceeding to have his way with her. This would be the day that Naruto Gremory was able to convert the strongest Dragon King using sex. Naruto and Tiamat appeared back where his peerage was. Tiamat had a flushed face and a limp in her step. Combined with the glow she had, the other peerage members immediately knew what had happened between the two. Well then, we should get going back to our base. I need to convene with Menma, Naruto said as he teleported his peerage to his base in the yokai faction territory. Nice to see you again after so long, brother, Menma said as he greeted Naruto with a firm handshake and hug. It's nice to be back as well. Has anything interesting been happening? Naruto asked as he took a sip of tea. Not really, but quite a lot has happened in the underworld since you left. I guess for you the biggest development is that many amongst the 3 factions assume you dead. Also, you have a younger sister now. In fact, she was just recently born and your parents have named her the heir for the lordship of your house. Although I think that should change once you return. When exactly do you plan on returning? Menma said. Not until I have a full peerage at the very least. I am almost done, I just need to get my pawns which I already have members set for. I should be able to return in another 5 years, Naruto said. I see. Could I ask you for a favor? Menma said, of course. I don't mind doing things for you since you let me live here anyway, Naruto said. I need you to check on the population of Nekomata in the underworld in about 3 years' time. This should give you plenty of time to get reacclimatized with the world, right? Menma requested. Of course. Just remind me closer to the day. It was great catching up with you, Naruto said as he got up to leave. The feeling is mutual, Menma said as he went back to his paperwork with a sigh. Time skipped 4 years. Naruto's peerage was now already complete, however. An unforeseen change had occurred that would derail all of his plans. Yusaka had become the first of his mates to become pregnant with a child of his. This was a joyous occasion, but Naruto also realized the repercussions of this as he still had multiple enemies gunning for his head and did not wish for any harm to befall his daughter. He had also been hearing from his spy network that there were traitors amongst the devils and that made him even more worried to return back to the underworld. Thus he opted to stay hidden away until his future child would be able to defend themselves or when he was certain that all the threats were gone. I am going now, Naruto said as he grabbed his gear and got ready to go on the task asked of him by Menma. Please be safe, Naruto-kun. All of his mates stated. His pawns were all out gathering information for him and he rarely ever called them together. His pawns were divided into independent 2-man cells that had free reign of their lives but were required to complete any task he assigned according to parameters, thus they were rarely around. I have you all to return to after all, Naruto said as he kissed all of them goodbye. He placed a mask over his face that cast an illusion to hide his appearance and power from being recognized. The mask was orange with a spiral design with a single eye hole. He was wearing a black cloak with red clouds over a lighter variation of his old combat attire. He had an ominous feeling about this mission and so it helped to be prepared. He left in a black swirl for the underworld. When he arrived in the underworld, there seemed to be a large event going on. Judging by the fact that Falbium was leading some sort of military procession towards the stadium and the other 3 Saiyans were waiting there based on what Naruto heard. Deciding that he needed more information, Naruto formed a single hand seal, creating 4 corporeal clones of himself. With a simple application of transformation magic, he sent his clones off to gather information while he headed off to the Nekomata settlement. As he neared the location specified by Menma, an overwhelming urgency took hold in his body. When he got there, he saw the Nekomata population surrounded by devils with clearly evil intentions. They were huddled together with the strong ones shielding the children and the elderly. Naruto jumped in between the group of Nekomata and devils, at the same time receiving the memories of the clones. He tsked as he realized what was happening. One of the devilized Nekomatas had killed their master, and as such the devils were trying to kill the rest of the Nekomata population out of spite or retribution. But after being informed of the name of the master, Naruto had an inkling as to what truly happened, and he sighed at the blind fear exhibited by his race. "What do you think you are doing here? You are definitely a devil. Who are you?" The one Naruto assumed to be the leader of the group questioned with an authoritative tone. "Tobi is a good boy. Tobi is here because he was asked to help out his friend," Naruto said. "Whoever you are, please get out of the way. This is by order of the council. One of them has killed the heir of a household. This is their punishment," the leader said. "Tobi says you all are meanies who shouldn't be hurting people. You make them all sad. Tobi doesn't like people who make others sad," Naruto said as he cast an illusion that made all the devils fall to the ground. He turned his attention to the Nekomata population. "What do you want from us?" The leader of the Nekomata village asked as he was afraid of someone capable of putting so many devils under an illusion. "Relax. I am here by order of Menma-sama," Naruto said. "Menma-sama?" The village leader asks. "Oh, that's right, you guys don't know about the change in yokai leadership. Yusaka has stepped down and now Menma Namikaze, the son of Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, is in charge of the yokai faction. I have already discussed the situation with him and he will provide you with sanctuary in Kyoto," Naruto said. "But how will you take us all there?" the village leader asks. "Just link your hands together," Naruto said. They did as told and Naruto placed a hand on the village leader's shoulder. Focusing on the marker Menma had thrown down, he ported all of them to Kyoto, stopping to catch a breath after from the strain of having to spread his energy to so many people at once. Naruto headed off to the direction of the military procession, intent on stopping a wrongly accused person from suffering the consequences for defending their loved ones. He calmly dropped in front of the military procession, halting its advance. "Halt. What is your business here?" Falbium stated, his usual lazy demeanor gone as he could tell that the person in front of him was strong. "Tobi is here for a cookie," Naruto said as bounced on the balls of his feet. "Answer as seriously you cur. How dare you speak to one of the Saiyans like that? Move aside or be moved," one of the guards said. Naruto just tilted his head childishly. "Very well then, we are forced to resort to physical means so that the trial of the criminal is not interrupted," another guard said as he tried to push Naruto out of the way only to phase right through him. "Big shiny man is funny. Has Tobi been such a good boy that he gets to play with all of you?" Naruto said as he moved towards the place where the prisoner was being held. "Stop him," Falbium ordered, but none of the soldiers could actually touch Naruto. Naruto reached the carriage and freed Kuroka. "Who are you?" Kuroka asks. "I am here to help you. Now then, Katsu," Naruto said as he slammed his palm on the ground while tightly holding on to Kuroka, who was blushing at the intimate contact. A large explosion could be seen from miles around. "What was that?" Ajuka asks as everyone took notice of the explosion. "That was where Falbium was," Serafal said. "I'll go there myself and see what is happening." "Guards," Sirzex said as he was flanked by 10 patrolmen. They made their way towards the location of the blast and were surprised to see a heavily injured Falbium as well as the soldiers that accompanied him who were all unconscious. As soon as Sirzex approached Falbium, a sealing array on Falbium's body glowed and Sirzex found himself in a different location. "Hello Ni-san," Naruto said as he greeted Sirzex. "Brother. What is this place?" Sirzex asked. The sky was red and both Sirzex and Naruto were black and white. "This is the Tsukuyomi world, one of my most potent illusions. It is the representation of the spiritual world in darkness," Naruto said stoically. "Where have you been, brother? Everyone has been worried about you. You have a little sister now," Sirzex said. "I know. I am just an impression of the real Naruto. I am here to tell you the truth about Kuroka's choice to kill her master as well to inform you that the events of today nearly caused you to start a war with the yokai faction," Naruto said as he clarified the truth behind Kuroka's murder of her master, providing convincing evidence that would prove Kuroka innocent. But he knew the older devils would not accept this matter so simply. Devils were greedy creatures after all. I implore you to put your foot down on this matter, brother. If you start a war with the Kyoto Yokai faction, then the devils will face extinction. The current leader of the Yokai faction, Menma Namikaze, is not someone any of you can hope to beat, and I will have to stand against you if such a war were to occur. The moon cannot stand against the sun. It seems the energy I left behind is just about used up, Naruto said as his fingers started fading. Wait. When will you return, Naruto? Searzex asks. When the time is right, I will return. I have one last request, Searzex. Please take care of Kuroka's little sister for me. I cannot retrieve her without risking my identity, so please do it as a favor to your little brother. There are things that I still have to do. Till we meet again, brother, Naruto said before the world around them faded. Searzex blinked and found himself back where he originally was. In his hand was a file that contained all the evidence to prove Kuroka's innocence. Resolving to take Naruto's warning seriously, Searzex had Kuroka declared innocent and her sister Sharon was placed in the care of Rias. Many devils made a fuss about this, but Searzex threatened them, saying that Kuroka and the rest of the Nekomata were now under devil protection and they were more than welcome to risk war if they wanted vengeance so badly. Time skip. 11 years. 11 years had gone by. Naruto lived in relative peace in yokai territory with his mates while his pawns were off trying to make the world a safer place for his future family and also to watch over his current family. Yusaka had given birth to a beautiful girl that they named Kuno. Kuno had 9 tails and fox ears just like her mother but inherited her father's red hair and unique eyes. Naruto and Yusaka decided to hide Kuno's appearance under an illusion to prevent anyone from linking Kuno to him so as to keep her safe. To those who didn't know of her true appearance, she was a carbon copy of Yusaka and she was expressly told not to talk about who her father was. Kuroka had become clingy ever since she was saved by Naruto and eventually became the 7th person to join his harem as his bishop. He learned that Rias was now attending school in the human realm thanks to the people he had keeping tabs on her. He also learned of her engagement to Riser Fenix, something that he was against. He had been reviewing the contract almost on a daily basis to try and find a way to break it while maintaining anonymity, knowing that Searzex would be unable to break it given his position as Lucifer. But the group had other matters to attend to. It would seem that things were stirring soon amongst the supernatural factions and his informants were painting a grim picture of a rising group of terrorists that would surely be a future threat. In addition to that, it would seem the Kuo and by extension Naruto's sister Rias was the epicenter of many of the coming storm. Damn, morning sun, Naruto muttered as the streams of light from the curtain fell on his eyes disturbing his sleep. He tried to move his arms but could only move his right one since his left arm was currently being trapped by both his daughter and his queen. That's right. Kuno had a nightmare yesterday night and couldn't sleep so she came over, Naruto mused as he brought his right hand up to stroke his daughter's red hair lovingly. Look at you, Kuno, you will grow up to be such a beautiful woman. Soon daddy will have to beat all the bad boys who want to take you away from me with a stick, Naruto said quietly. Good morning, my king, Yusaka said as she gave a chaste kiss to his lips. Naruto a little stunned at first since he didn't realize she had woken up but quickly reciprocated. Good morning to you too, my beloved queen, Naruto said after they parted. Good morning, Oka-sama, Oto-sama, Kuno greeted sleepily as she rubbed the sleep out of her eyes. Good morning, my dear Kuno, are you looking forward to spending the day with me and your Oka-sama? Naruto asked as he gently kissed her forehead. Kuno nodded her head vigorously, excited to spend the day with her father and mother. The past years of her life had been hard since she couldn't talk about her father outside at all and they couldn't show much form of attachment. It wasn't that Naruto didn't trust Menma and the yokai. It was just that being supernatural beings, the yokai knew who he was and word travels fast. He figured it would be best that no one figured out that Kuno was his daughter, so to speak. But a few years ago, he had the genius idea of moving to Kuo since he heard that his little sister was coming here. This to him was the perfect opportunity to build his family in peace. The group were masquerading as humans and thanks to his runes, so long as they did not go above a certain level of power, they would be seen as human by anything supernatural or supernaturally aware. It not only allowed him to have some semblance of regular family life but it also allowed him to watch over his little sister. Why don't we go and get ready together, Kuno? We can leave your father to get his work settled so that there won't be any distractions later. I'll even let you sit in my lap while I brush your hair, Yusaka said. But I want Oto-sama to brush my hair, Kuno said with a cute pout. Sorry dear. I have some things I need to do. Tell you what, if you be a good girl for me and follow your mother, I'll buy you ice cream today, Naruto said. Ice cream? Okay then, Kuno said as she jumped off the bed excitedly and headed to the bath. You spoil her too much. No, in fact you spoil all of us so much. Thank you for doing this for her. I know it would have been much easier for you if we stayed in Kyoto and you moved between here and Kyoto, Yusaka said as she snuggled into his chest. You should know that all of you are the most important things in my life now. Seeing all of you happy makes me happy, besides it wasn't much trouble. Thanks to shadow clones and illusions, everything was much simpler than I thought it would be. Anyway, best not keep our daughter waiting. I need to go check up with them before we leave, Naruto said as he got up out of bed and walked out the door. As he passed through the hallways, he got the memories of his clones that the rest of his mates spent the night with. Ever since he developed a way to use Menma's clone technique, he would make clones for all the other mates that he did not spend the night with so that they would still receive his affections. Good morning, Mia-chan, Naruto said as he gave his purple-haired Sekirei a kiss. She was always an early riser and seemed to never have any morning fatigue despite some of the physical activities they would do at night. She and Kazuha had become the default cooks for meals as well as managing the upkeep of the home. Good morning to you too, Naruto-kun. I would love to talk to you some more, but it is my turn today to prepare breakfast, so I should get going before the rest get down there, Mia said with a formal bow as she excused herself. Good morning, Kuroka, Naruto said, giving the woman a kiss. At the same time placing a kiss on the bundle that was currently in her arms. Kuroka had given birth to a healthy baby hybrid a year ago. His son, Boruto, had red hair and according to Kuroka would have a red cat tail and cat ears when he finally manifested his features. Boruto had also inherited the Sharingan, something that Naruto was grateful for since they could do an eye swap between him and Kuno should the need arise to prevent blindness from the Mangekyo Sharingan. Good morning, Naruto-kun. Nya, is breakfast ready yet? Kuroka asked as she bounced the bundle in her arms. It should almost be ready. Mia went down earlier, Naruto said. Kuroka nodded and went in the direction of the dining hall. Good morning, Kazuha-chan, Lucy-chan, Naruto greeted as he gave his two Pandora a morning kiss. Good morning, Naruto-kun, Naruto-sama, they replied. I should go see if Mia needs any help with breakfast. At the very least I can help her get the table set up, Kazuha said as she excused herself and headed off in the direction of the kitchen. Would you like to follow me to the room? Naruto asks. No thank you, Naruto-sama, but thank you for the invitation. I would like to go and find Kuroka so that we may continue our word competition, Lucy said with a wicked grin before turning and walking in the opposite direction. Honestly, I don't know what is worse, your flat dry puns and jokes or Kuroka's perverted teasing, Naruto said with a shake of his head, finding himself drawn to Lucy's derriere as she walked away. Good morning, Tiamat-chan, Naruto said as he gave a kiss that jolted his still sleepy dragon awake. Good morning to you too, Naruto-sama, Tiamat greeted happily. I am glad you enjoyed your kinky fun last night with my clone. I'll be sure to give you even more fun when it's your turn, Naruto said. I look forward to it, Tiamat said as she sauntered away to grab breakfast. Naruto continued on his way towards the room at the very end of the walkway, activating a runic array that would authorize his entrance. He shut the door behind him and activate various privacy and security runes. After all, it was always better to be safe than sorry in his mind. Screens illuminated all around the room, displaying various graphics and information, with the map of the world taking up the large center screen and several smaller screens explaining the markers that were present on the map. Naruto sat down in his chair as he went over the displayed information, making sure there are no discrepancies. Report in, Naruto said as he rested his head in his arm. We have been unable to locate any of the unaccounted Longinus thus far, Itachi said as he and Kisame were in a mountainous area tracking down leads to any Longinus that was not known to belong to any of the factions. There seems to have been no movement from any of the old Satan faction. They seem to have gone quiet. Too quiet if you ask me, Kakashi said, throwing his 2 cents in. Rizavum still has not been accounted for, but it would seem that his supporters are stirring, which is odd given that they did not participate in the civil according to your information and will only move under orders from Rizavum, Gaara said. Itachi, Kisame, keep looking. We need to know the status of all the Longinus. Kakashi, Guy, keep your eyes open for any news on the old Satan faction. Also carry on checking on the informant network. Some of them have gone dark for some inexplicable reason. Gaara, A, B, keep trying to locate Rizavum. He is a dangerous threat in the fact that his forces are moving. It all shows that something has piqued his interest. Naruto ordered his pawns. Will do, Naruto-sama, they all responded before cutting off communications. Naruto sighed as he looked up at the world map deep in thought, looking over the information on said map for probably the 100th time. It's been a year since we moved from Kyoto. Thus far no one has discovered us yet, which I am thankful for. It's not that I don't want to return to the underworld or that I lack the power to protect my family. In an outright fight only Menma, Great Red and Ophis would be a problem for me. The main issue here are those working in the shadows. There are definitely traitors in the three factions. Add to that this Chaos Brigade stirring trouble. I just want Kuno, Boruto and my future children to be able to grow up safely and not have to be constantly monitored. They're kids. At least for now Kuno can grow up with some freedom, at least till I have to go back to the underworld. Hopefully this mess is resolved before Boruto is old enough to remember anything. The last thing I want is for any of my children to grow up during a time of war, Naruto said to himself. He shook his head from any depressing thoughts and went to get himself decent for breakfast. The peerage or family as Naruto liked to call it enjoyed a wonderful oriental breakfast that Miya had prepared with the help of Kazuha. Naruto was seated at the head of the table with Yusaka to his immediate right, Kuno to his left and the rest of his pieces facing each other in order of bishop, rook and knight. Boruto was being cradled and fed by Kuroka with some help from Akasha. It still amazed Naruto how he could keep this many powerful women satisfied and able to live together, but he attributed it to the use of shadow clones and also his devil stamina. Once breakfast was done, Naruto left behind a few clones to keep the rest of his mates company and also run the convenience store while he spent the day out with Yusaka and Kuno. Well, I'll see you ladies later. When my student turns up, bring him to the training room. One of my clones should be there to take care of him, Naruto said. Could I have a drink before you leave, Naruto-kun? Akasha asked shyly. Of course dear, Naruto said, leaning his head off to the side to give her access to his neck. Once he was done he turned his attention to Tiamat. I still don't understand why you elected to train the kid that has the boosted gear. He is a worthless human. He doesn't have any talent for anything. No talent for fighting. No talent for magic. Heck, the only he could do was be a pervert before you started training him, Tiamat said. Look Tiamat-chan. I get your animosity towards Diedrich, but can you imagine the power of the boosted gear in the hands of a pervert? What kind of horrors would be unleashed upon the world if we let someone whose brain is dangling between his legs run amok with a tool that has the potential to kill gods? Besides, look at Guy. He had no talent and right now he is one of the best hand-to-hand combatants even if he can't use any form of magic, Naruto said, explaining his reasoning. A few months after Naruto and his peerage had arrived, he was alerted to the presence of the boosted gear in one Issei Hyodo. The boosted gear was still dormant and if not for Naruto having his Rinnegan active he wouldn't have noticed it at all. Even then the traces of the draconic sacred gear was faint at best. Naruto had decided to train the pervert and help him unlock his sacred gear. The main reason was that he shuddered at the thought of something with limitless potential in the hands of someone with balls for brain. Another reason was that the kid reminded him of Jiraiya. The third reason was that he was trying to steer the kid to becoming one of Rias' pieces as selfish as that is. The boosted gear in the hands of a well-trained person would make for an excellent guardian to his little sister's peerage. Naruto had started Issei off on physical training, basing Issei's regime on his and Guy's personal training regime but severely trimmed down since his regime was meant for devils and Guy's was not suitable for anyone else except Guy. Naruto had to admit that kid may have been a pervert but he was definitely a driven learner and a hard worker. The kid even managed to awaken the base form of the boosted gear in the first month of training and was able to advance it into the usual gauntlet form. Then in 2 months following that, he had advanced it into its second liberation form, earning a new ability called Gift that allowed him to transfer his powers to others. Naruto was trying to figure out a way to get the kid to enter balance breaker form so that Issei could start getting acclimatized to using the scale mail, but according to Diedrich, Issei lacked that final push factor to get him to enter balance breaker. On the plus side, all that training actually helped to curb Issei's perverted tendencies and Issei was happy to see that his reduced perverseness had made him more popular in school. I guess you were right there, and the kid's improvement is nothing to scoff at, Tiamat said with a huff. Well, we're off, Naruto said as he placed Kuno onto his shoulders, earning a giggle from the girl while Yusaka looped one arm around his, her other one carrying a picnic basket. Please be safe Naruto-kun, Yusaka, the peerage members said as they waved goodbye to their king and queen. So what would you like to do today, Kuno? Naruto asked his daughter who was enjoying the view from her spot on his shoulders, nuzzling her cheek against the top of the head. I want to go to the park and play, Kuno said excitedly. Then to the park it is, Naruto said while striking a mock heroic pose. To the park. Kuno cheered, attempting to mimic her father. The family took a nice slow stroll to the park, enjoying the fact that for the moment, there was nothing else in the world except the two of them. Once they reached the park, Naruto played with Kuno at the swings and slide while Yusaka went off to find a spot to set up their little picnic. Yusaka sat down the picnic mat and set the basket off to the side since it was still a little early to eat anything just yet. She observed Kuno having the time of her life with her father and was thankful for having met and fallen in love with Naruto. She smiled serenely as she heard Kuno laugh when pushed by Naruto on the swings. Naruto was just content to make sure his daughter was having fun. He noticed Kuno stealing glances at a group of children. "Why don't you go try and make friends and play with those kids, Kuno?" Naruto said as he gestured to the group of kids that had attracted Kuno's attention. "Are you sure it's all right too, San?" Kuno asks. She never really interacted with anyone her own age, so she was a little shy.
"Go ahead, Kuno. Don't worry, me and your mother will be right there watching you, so go on and play with them," Naruto said as he gave a light push. Kuno took a few tentative steps before gaining the confidence to approach the group of children. She managed to introduce herself well and eventually started to join in with their games. She stole a glance at her father, who simply nodded his head before he turned to join Yusaka.
"It seems that Kuno is enjoying herself," Naruto commented as he sat down on the mat, leaning his back against the tree before pulling Yusaka onto his lap. Yusaka shifted around to get comfortable before she snuggled her body into his, leaning her head against his shoulder while feeling his arms wrap around her waist.
"You know, watching Kuno have fun like this really makes me happy that I met you all those years ago. I am grateful. You not only taught me a lot about the world, but you also gave me love and a beautiful daughter," Yusaka said as she snuggled deeper into Naruto, enjoying his familiar warmth.
"Yes, I remember meeting you when you were a spirited young vixen who was still trying to make a name for herself as a princess of the yokai faction. You were so uptight back then. I remember the first time I met you. Jiraiya was caught peeking at the bathhouses where you happened to be. Oh boy, what a mess it was. Menma and I had to do so much damage control to get his ass out of that fire," Naruto said with a melancholic smile. "I am sorry I brought up some sad memories," Yusaka said, recalling that Jiraiya was a sad subject for both Naruto and Menma. "It's alright. He was like that perverted grandfather or uncle you liked a lot but always didn't want to tell people about. But that isn't the point. As sad as what happened is, I am grateful because thanks to him, I got to meet you," Naruto said as he placed a soft kiss on Yusaka's cheek. "I am thankful too, you know. Sigh, it seems that verbal tick is still there. At least Kuno doesn't seem to do it as often," Yusaka said. "Probably because she isn't as hot-headed as you when you were her age," Naruto retorted playfully. "True. She probably inherited her father's genius and calm personality," Yusaka said as she looked on lovingly at Kuno having a fun time with all the human children. "But she inherited her good looks from her mother. Before too long I will have to beat back boys with a stick. She will have the guys dropping at her feet, just like her mother. Oh, woe is me. It won't be long before I will be wondering where daddy's little girl disappeared to," Naruto said. "Oh, you. Don't be such a dramatic. You know she will grow up eventually. But for now let us just enjoy having our little baby girl around," Yusaka said as she playfully slapped Naruto's chest before looking back at Kuno having fun. "I will have to return to the underworld eventually," Naruto stated, leaving that statement in the air. "I know. You wanted to return when your peerage was first completed, but then you decided not to since I got pregnant with Kuno. Then when Kuroka had Boruto you were even more against the idea of returning to the underworld, and now with Kazuha pregnant as well. I wonder when exactly you plan to return to the underworld," Yusaka said. "Ideally I would not want to return now. At least like this all of my children get to grow up in peace without any responsibilities or expectations hanging over their heads. I want them to have a good childhood. If we go back to the underworld then they will undoubtedly live in my shadow and with the responsibilities of being part of the Gremory family. I don't want that. I want them to grow up and make their own choices without any voices telling them what to do. I don't want them to grow up like I did, constantly being compared to my brother," Naruto said, expressing all his worries to his queen. "I know. You only want what's best for them, but you can't keep running away from this forever. Besides, even if there are dangers lurking within the underworld, we are all more than strong enough to protect them, and honestly, I think that it would be better to introduce them to that life sooner rather than later," Yusaka said while stroking his cheek lovingly, Naruto leaning into her hand and closing his eyes. "Above that is how the society will perceive them. Many of the devils are idiots who believe that they need to keep the blood of upper-class devils pure. I don't want any of my children to be affected by that. Honestly, the idiocy of some members of the devil race makes me wonder why we haven't gone extinct. They keep promoting the idea of breeding and blood when all the abilities are tools that can doom someone if they become crutches," Naruto said bitterly, the engagement between Rias and Riser coming to mind. He had a feeling that they wanted to create an offspring with both the power of destruction and the Phoenix regeneration, thinking that the child would be invincible. "My parents might not be as discriminatory as others since we Gremory are particularly affectionate. Heck, my mother will probably be gushing at the thought of having grandkids to spoil, but the other devils definitely won't like the fact that I have offspring that are not pure in their eyes. I guess the only thing that offsets this is that if my kids inherit powers from both parents, then they would be strong, no doubt, and I hope that the concept that power is everything in the underworld applies. If so, then we won't have as much of a problem, Naruto said. Hey, enough of that depressing train of thought now. We are here to enjoy ourselves, Yasaka said while playfully biting Naruto's ear, causing him to groan. Oh my, is my vixen feeling a little playful today? Naruto said with a smirk as he flipped Yasaka around such that she was now snuggling into him and seated between his legs. Oh my, does my king wish to do indecent things with me? Can he not keep his beastly urges in check? Yasaka said playfully as she ground her pert rear against Naruto's crotch, making him muffle a groan and mock glare at her. Are you sure it's not the opposite? Is my vixen unable to control herself around me now? Naruto said as he suckled on a particularly sensitive spot on her neck, forcing Yasaka to bite her lip to stifle a moan. Naruto placed a kiss on her cheek before speaking once more. As much as I enjoy this, we can have our own private fun later. It's time for us to enjoy the food, Kuno. Naruto said as he called out to his daughter. Kuno ran up to her parents as they untangled themselves from each other.
It's time to eat, dear. I am sure you've had a little of fun, but you need some rest, Yasaka said. Hi, Okawa-sama, Kuno said as she sat down on the mat, taking her favorite spot on her father's lap. Naruto pat her head lightly as Kuno proceeded to dig into the food that they brought with them. The family enjoyed the meal mostly in silence as Yasaka and Naruto would take turns feeding each other while Kuno was just comfortable being doted on by her mother and father.
Well, Kuno, say goodbye to your friends, it's time to go, Naruto said as he helped Yasaka pack up the things. Kuno looked a little sad that it was time to leave already.
Don't be so sad, Kuno. Your father still needs to fulfill his promise of getting you ice cream, remember? Yasaka said. At this, Kuno's eyes seemed to sparkle. She dragged her father with strength that shouldn't be possible for an 11-year-old and brought him to the ice cream stand where she ordered a triple scoop of mixed flavors. She happily slurped her ice cream, tuning out everything else while Naruto and Yasaka shared a simple single scoop of vanilla. Naruto's eyes narrowed when he felt a familiar energy. Did you feel that? Naruto asked quietly while subconsciously pulling Kuno closer to him. Yes, what are fallen angels doing in an area run by devils? Yasaka wondered. I don't know, but I guess we will find out soon enough, Naruto said. The three of them headed home and Kuno decided to take a nap. Naruto went to check on the Issei, who was currently undergoing physical conditioning.
Issei. Naruto called out as his clone that was watching over the boy dispelled.
Yes, sensei. Issei asked. I need you to be a little bit more careful around here now. It seems there are fallen angels in the area, Naruto said. Naruto had thought Issei all about the supernatural factions but had yet to broach the subject on who and what he was, deciding that now was a good time since Naruto had received word that Rias' engagement was being moved up. Naruto took a deep breath as he prepared to explain everything to his student. Issei, I haven't been fully honest with you, Naruto said seriously.
What do you mean, sensei? Issei asks. My full name is Naruto Gremory and I am a devil from the house of Gremory, Naruto said.
Wait, Gremory is in Rias Gremory. That same one? Issei asked. Yes, she is actually my younger sister, although she and I have never met in person due to the fact that I had to leave the underworld almost a century ago in order to handle some personal matters, Naruto said. I see, Issei responded, not knowing what to say. Do you hate me? I was not fully honest with you, Naruto said. No, how could I hate someone who helped to make me a better person? Without you, sensei, then I would still be the useless pervert in school that everyone hates in school. Now people are actually decent with me, Issei said. Say, Issei, is your dream still to become a harem king? Naruto asked. Well, it is to a certain degree, but more importantly is that I want the power to protect those I care about and build a family. If I just so happen to build a harem, then so be it. Learning under you has really helped open up my eyes, Issei responded seriously. If I told that helping me fulfill a favor would help you achieve your dream, would you do it? Even if it meant giving up being fully human? Naruto asked. Well, it depends on what you want me to do, but if it does help me get stronger to protect those I care about, then I don't see why not. Besides, you told me that I am not exactly human anymore because of D-Drake, right? Issei responded. Yes, that is true. You are partially draconic already. You remember what I told you about devils having evil pieces and angels having brave saints, right? Naruto said. Yeah, I can sort of see where this is going. You want me to become a devil, right? Issei said. Yes, but not for me. I would like you to become a devil in Rias Peerage. I want you to watch over my little sister. Call it insurance. It would allow me to sleep much more soundly at night knowing that the Red Dragon Emperor that I trained was able to assist my little sister in whatever matters may arise and help to protect her. I understand if you don't want to, Naruto said. No, it's fine, sensei. All my life I've been a useless pervert, but thanks to you, everyone sees potential in me. If this helps me repay you for all that you have done, then I will gladly do it, Issei said. Thanks, Issei, Naruto said with a smile. So how do I go about becoming part of Rias-senpai's peerage? Issei asked. I have reason to believe that the fallen angels are aware that you have a sacred gear and a strong one at that, since they were always the best at going after sacred gears out of the three factions thanks to Azazel's expertise. With the fallen angels onto you, you could either wait for them to come to you and in the process drawing the attention of Rias, who happens to be in charge of this territory, or during school you let out a pulse of your power to attract her attention. The choice is entirely up to you, Naruto said. I guess I'll just flare my power and talk to her. It's a lot better than waiting for the fallen angel to come and risk anything bad happening, Issei said. Glad to see that you aren't taking any unnecessary risks. Now get back to training. You still have another hour before you are done for the day. Work on your other skills besides physical training, Naruto said as he turned to leave the training ground. Hi sensei, Issei said as he got to work practicing his kenjutsu. And Issei, please don't tell Rias that I trained you or that I sent you. For now, I want to remain anonymous to the world at large, Naruto said, turning back to look at his student, who simply nodded in response. When he got out of the training grounds, he saw Yasaka waiting for him with a seductive smirk on her face. Naruto just raised an eyebrow at this before he was pulled in for a heated kiss. You said we would continue this when we got back home. Well, we are home now, so let's have a little fun, shall we? Yasaka said. Of course, my dear queen, Naruto said as he flashed them to their bedroom. Lemon warning. They continued their heated kiss as Naruto's tongue explored Yasaka's waiting mouth. His hands trailed down to her shapely rear, massaging it softly before lightly spanking her ass cheeks, getting her to moan into the kiss. Yasaka was running her hands through his crimson hair, her tongue battling with his for dominance. They broke apart for air, staring into each other's eyes in silent consent before they moved to the bed, articles of clothing being shed as they were now both nude. Naruto suckled on the sensitive skin at Yasaka's neck and collarbone, causing the blonde-haired yokai to moan loudly. His hands trailed along her sides, sending shivers down her spine. Yasaka's own hands weren't idle as they left feather-light touches on his defined torso. Naruto kissed her deeply as his hands moved to cup her large breasts. His fingers sinking into the soft globes of flesh, he gently massaged them, getting Yasaka to moan into the kiss. His index and thumb played with her erect nipples, teasing the sensitive peaks by flicking, pinching and rolling them between his digits. He broke the kiss and trailed butterfly kisses down her neck and collarbone before enveloping her nipple in his mouth, blowing air on it before suckling on it, causing Yasaka to arch her back to try and increase her pleasure. Naruto snaked his hand down her flat abdomen before brushing lightly against her nether lips, getting her to shudder and buckle her hips as she tried to get more pleasure. Naruto continued to tease the outside of her lower lips, occasionally brushing against the sensitive nub before finally inserting 2 fingers into her. Yasaka's moans increased in volume as she moved her hips to increase the pleasure she got from his fingers. Her own hands went down to his member and started pumping the stiff rod, earning groans from him. Enough foreplay. I want you inside me now, Yasaka pleaded. As you wish, my queen, Naruto said as he removed his fingers from inside her. He placed his member at her entrance, spreading her legs wide using his thighs. He grabbed her hips and eased himself into her, feeling the familiar warmth and tightness of his queen while Yasaka felt the fullness and completeness from having her king and love inside her. Their pace was slow and delicate at first before Naruto started pushing into her with abandon while Yasaka met his thrusts with his own, increasing their pleasure. Before long the two of them screamed out in bliss as they reached their orgasms, Yasaka's juices covering Naruto's member while he deposited his seed into her. He pulled out and lay down next to her, catching his breath. Would you like another round, my queen? Naruto asked. We aren't leaving this room until we are both thoroughly satisfied, Yasaka said with a seductive smile. Lemon end. A few hours later, the king and queen had finished their little rut and Yasaka was blissfully resting in the bed. Naruto sat at the edge of the bed and stroked her cheek delicately. Yasaka unconsciously leaning into the touch, Naruto kissed her forehead before heading out of the room and going to his command room. He grabbed his mask and his black cloak with red clouds and put it on before disappearing in a black vortex. He appeared on a tree overlooking the abandoned church where he had detected the fallen angels. He narrowed his single visible eye when he counted 4 fallen angels, although they were all weak with only a single pair of wings. So there are indeed fallen here, but what are they doing? Azazel is one of the last few people I would expect who would do this since it could well lead to a war, Naruto said to himself. He listened into the conversation of the fallen, getting their names and stowing that information away for further research. Eventually he got bored of their useless bickering and decided to go back and do research on them. He returned back to his command room, activating the terminal and entering the names of the fallen. The other 3 have nothing really worth noting, but it seems that this 4th one, Rainier, is unusually devoted to Azazel and would go to great lengths to please him or at least do things that she thinks will please him. Naruto mused. He decided to get in touch with his contact to learn what could have drawn the fallen angels here. Interesting. So they managed to track the boosted gear here. Azazel asked them to ignore it for now, but Rainier probably decided that acting upon the information would please him. She either intends to convert Issei to their side, kill him, or try to take his sacred gear. She also requested for an excommunicated nun to be sent here, and the nun has some weird healing power, probably a sacred gear, maybe twilight healing. It does seem like it given that she could heal a devil. It seems that things are starting soon. I can only hope that Issei will be enough help for my sister for now, Naruto said as he stared at the updates on the screen. Naruto watched from his spot atop one of the many small hills that were present on his private training grounds as Issei went through various sword stances with a wooden practice sword against the training dummy. Deciding that it was time to step up his students' training a little bit, Naruto summoned a clone and sent it to surprise Issei. Sensing the danger, Issei sidestepped the clone's attack before swinging his wooden blade in a wide arc to try and hit the clone's head. The clone ducked under the strike and attempted a straight thrust to try and jab Issei with its own wooden blade, but Issei deftly avoided the strike by bending backwards. He went for a leg sweep to try and get the clone, but the clone jumped up and tried for another overhead strike which Issei was able to parry. Issei pushed back on the strike before going in for a diagonal slash only to have it countered by the clone. He spun the sword in his hand fluidly, his sword arcing around the clone in a flurry of movement in its attempt to try and overwhelm the clone's defenses, but of course it was Naruto's original move, so the clone simply countered with his own variation before slipping within his guard and giving Issei a swift hit to the side. Stop, Naruto said as both the clone and Issei stopped, the clone dispelling as he approached Issei. Good job, Issei. Your sword skills are certainly improving. That will be all today. You should rest. I trust that you have garnered my sister's attention. Naruto asked as Issei deposited his sword into a pocket dimension. Yes, I have. She currently has her rook or her queen trailing me. While her queen may be good at sneaking around, she has nothing on your training, sensei. Also, I have made sure to suppress my energy such that it feels like I have an inactivate sacred gear, making sure to let Didrake's influence through so they know that it could be the boosted gear, Issei said. Good, Issei. You are doing very well. This is after all up to you how you want to do this. Anyway, I will see you at the end of the week, Issei. You know the way out, Naruto said before flashing away.
I see my beautiful knight is getting ready for her night out, Naruto said as he appeared behind a nude Kazuha in her room. He pulled her body to his, wrapping his arms around her waist, the developing baby bump being felt by his calloused fingers. I want my time with my king to be very special after all, Kazuha replied as she placed her hands over his.
Just imagine, in another 5 months you will become a mother and we will be welcoming a new member to our growing family, Naruto said as he kissed her cheek. I look forward to the day when I get to hold our child, my beloved king. Have you thought of any names? Kazuha asked. Well, I have thought of one if it is a girl, Himawari. If it is a boy, well, I haven't thought of a good name for a boy yet, Naruto replied as he suckled on the sensitive flash of her neck, earning a moan from his black-haired knight. Anyway, would you like to join me in the bath before we go for our dinner? Kazuha asked. Of course, I would never reject the chance to spend time with one of my beloveds, Naruto said as he carried Kazuha in his arms towards the bath. He filled the tub up with water using his magic and got inside the spacious tub. Kazuha sat between his legs. He gently lathered soap all over her body, his touch lingering over her more sensitive areas for just a little longer to tease her. After he washed her body of all the soap and gave her hair a gentle wash, they changed positions so that Kazuha could wash Naruto, making sure to return the favor for his earlier teasing. Once the two of them were done fooling around and got clean, Naruto took a seat in front of the dresser, using a hairbrush to brush Kazuha's luxurious hair before setting it in her usual ponytail with her usual orange ribbon.
She got dressed in a beautiful orange dress that showed off her figure and gave a hint of her developing baby bump, while Naruto put on a simple red t-shirt and slacks with a blazer over top. "Shall we, my dear?" Naruto asks as he offered a hand to her. "Of course, we don't want to lose our reservation now, do we?" Kazuha said as she accepted the offered hand, and the pair left for their dinner. They arrived at their chosen destination, a quaint little French restaurant that had quickly become a favorite for Kazuha given how often she would ask him to bring her here. They were led to their usual spot in a secluded corner of the restaurant, and Naruto helped Kazuha get seated before he took his own seat opposite to her. They browsed through the menu and ordered their dinner for the night together with some wine to accompany it before being left in silence. "It's hard to imagine that I've been with you for more than 30 years now. I still remember that day when you saved me, you know," Kazuha said as she leaned into Naruto's hand that was tenderly stroking her cheek. "At that time all I could think about was keeping my promise to Kazuya because he was the only real family I had. I remember that sadness at not being able to see him again, not able to comfort him when he got sad and not being able to see him grow up. But you changed that for me. You gave me a new life. I always wonder what would happen had you not come to save me. What would the afterlife have been like? You know I always tell you to stop thinking about what ifs and focus on the here and now. You have family now. We all love you. I love you dearly, Kazuha. I think it was fate that called me to your world. At first I went there out of interest, but then I met you. You could say I fell head over heels with you. How you didn't care about others and was brutally honest to everyone you met. I admired your determination to break away from your grandfather despite the hard life that came with it. I couldn't let a beautiful soul like yours be extinguished so easily now, could I?" Naruto said with a smile before giving a light peck on her lips, breaking away to allow the waiter to place their food and drink on the table. "Whenever I look back I am eternally grateful for the life you gave me. At first I was afraid, you know, about being a devil," Kazuha admitted. "Ah yes, I remember when you first discovered you were now a devil. You panicked and refused to talk to anyone for a day. It was thanks to Yusaka that you finally allowed me to talk to you. Then after that you adjusted pretty well. You were a quick learner, managing to pick up all the basic magic spells in a few days," Naruto said with a chuckle. "It was thanks to you and Yusaka that I was able to adapt, and I learned quickly because I had a great teacher. Thanks to you I got to live a new life and see my most precious person once more. It was thanks to you that I had more precious people in my life, and now thanks to you, I get to experience bringing new life to this world," Kazuha said with tears of joy. "I would do anything to make my beloveds happy because they are my most precious people. I would even storm heaven if that meant keeping all of you safe and happy. I would even fight a war against all the factions if that meant that my precious people would be safe," Naruto said with eyes full of determination. "And it is that determination and kindness that made me fall in love with you, Naruto-kun. The way you care for those you love and would do anything for their sake," Kazuha said. "Are you sure it wasn't because of how much you lusted for my touch? After all, you started becoming more affectionate when you happened to catch me and Yusaka going at it," Naruto said suggestively while wiggling his eyebrows, getting Kazuha to blush. "Well, I will admit that it was one benefit, but our relationship is more than just a physical one. After all, the greatest symbol of our love grows as we speak," Kazuha said as she had a warm smile on her face, one that was mirrored on Naruto's face. "Do you remember that time during the 9th Nova clash? When you first showed your devil powers against the Nova?" Naruto asks, the both of them reminiscing about the past. "How could I not? I put too much energy into the technique and ended up causing a lot of property damage even if it managed to go through an entire Type S Nova. And then Yusaka wasn't much better with her fire. Of course, thanks to your illusion we didn't have too much explaining to do except for your unique powers as a limiter," Kazuha said, putting emphasis on the word unique since it was basically all of Naruto's devil powers that they could mask as being special limiter powers from having two very strong Pandora. "Your grandfather is pretty good with coming up with cover stories though. I mean, experiment to see the benefits of two Pandora sharing one limiter. Experiment on injecting more stigmata into a limiter. Unique genes that resonate with the Pandora. I don't know which one I found more surprising, the fact that he could come up with all of that on the fly or the fact that people actually bought that nonsense," Naruto said. "People were desperate and we gave them hope during dark times. I still can't believe how the Nova invasion ended once you decided to reveal your full devil powers and destroy the Nova home world," Kazuha said with a chuckle. After revealing that he was a devil and after the 12th Nova clash, Naruto had gotten bored and decided to just go to the Nova home world, using his ultimate Susanoo and his strongest attack to destroy the world, ending the Nova threat for good. "Well, I got tired of the constant alert and I wanted to enjoy my time with my girls, you know. Cleanup after that was troublesome though," Naruto said with a shrug. Since they were done with the meal, Naruto paid and helped Kazuha out of her seat before the two of them walked through the park together, Kazuha's head leaning against Naruto's shoulder as he had an arm wrapped around her, his blazer draped over her shoulders. It's a beautiful full moon tonight. How about we sit down and watch the stars for a little while? Kazuha suggested. Naruto nodded and sat down on a bench, pulling Kazuha to sit in his lap as he wrapped his arms protectively around her waist. It is a nice night. I like times like this, nothing but me and my beloved spending time together just the way I like it, Naruto said. I wonder what is going on back in my own world. I wonder how Kazuya and Satellaizer are doing, Kazuha said.
I remember when you used to resent her, constantly complaining to both Yusaka and me how, and I quote, that blonde harlot is trying to steal my Kazuya from me and is corrupting my little brother with her body, but then you started accepting her. I wonder what brought on that change, Naruto said. Well, I guess it was after the 10th Nova clash when we all nearly died from the Nova bomb only to be saved by you at the last moment, but I realized how happy she made him just like how happy you made me. Speaking of which, they had kids, right? Kazuha asked.
That's right, they had 2 children, a son and a daughter. Why don't we see what they are up to right now?
Naruto said as he raised his hand. Activating his Rinnegan, he created a viewing portal to Kazuha's world. Kazuha had a warm smile as she watched her younger brother eating dinner with his family. She could see the love between the family and was grateful that her brother had found happiness away from her. She was even pleased to see that her remaining aunts were spending time with him since they seemed pretty lost after her grandfather had passed. I can't wait to experience that with you. The life of a loving family. Granted, it will be a little different since you have 7 wives, but looking at you, Yusaka, Kuroka, Kuno, and Boruto, I can't wait to have this child of ours born so that I can experience the joy of being a mother like they have, Kazuha said. I can't wait for our child to be born either. Now come on, it's time to go home, Naruto said. The two of them enjoyed a peaceful stroll back to the shop before heading off to bed, Kazuha using Naruto as her pillow. Her head nestled into his neck as he wrapped his right arm possessively around her waist. He gave her a light kiss before they both drifted off into blissful unconsciousness. Scene change. Naruto's command room. 2 weeks have passed. I see, so Rizvam is going after something called Sephiroth Graal, also known as the Holy Grail. Any idea why he would want it? Naruto asked as he went through the data gathered by his pawns. We have no idea, however, he has made no other movements besides showing a keen interest in that particular sacred gear, Gaara said while I was busy punching B in the background for terrible rapping.
Keep an eye on him and tell me if any other development occurs, Naruto said before he cut off the communication with them.
Odd. Of all the sacred gears, Itachi and Kisame have reported to me that the hero faction is currently in possession of the true Longinus, Annihilation Maker, and the Dimension Lost, while the Incinerate Anthem is with the magicians. Then there is also the problem of the hero faction brainwashing and using people with sacred gears. Just what are they planning? Kakashi, guy, can you hear me? Naruto said, getting in touch with his other team of pawns. Loud and clear, Naruto-sama, Kakashi responded. I want you to keep an eye and ear out for any development regarding the hero faction. It seems they are amassing power, and anytime a singular group tries to consolidate their power, it is never a good thing, Naruto said. Duly noted. We will inform you should we learn of any development regarding the hero faction, Kakashi said before the communication was cut. Things are happening in the background for now. I wonder if any of the faction leaders have taken notice of this, but then again the dissidents have been good at hiding their movements so far. Oh well, it would seem that Issei is handling his situation well. The Fallen have taken an interest in his now. In fact, if I recall, he has a date with one this weekend. Oh well, how he decides to approach this matter is his choice. I should trust my student after all, Naruto commented. I need to go get a drink, Naruto said to himself as he walked out of the command room, grabbing a black haori to wear over his short kimono and a green striped hat to go along with it. He wished his wives goodbye before he went to his frequented drinking location. He entered the Rolling Stones bar and took his usual seat by the counter and ordered his usual cocktail. As he was drinking, his mind wandered through various thoughts, namely the current storm about to come and also his family. He shook his head to clear his mind. The purpose of this is to relax, not to add to his worries, so he stopped thinking about troubles and focused on the lighter things in life, such as his growing family. Of course, he absent-mindedly thought about what his mother would say about him when he returned with children. He shuddered as he thought about the dressing down that he would undoubtedly receive from her. His thoughts then wandered to his little sister, the one who he had yet to meet. He was certain his parents and his brother had told her stories of him, although he dreaded the meeting with her that was sure to come eventually. Would she hate him for leaving her alone? Would she hate him for not helping her out directly with her engagement? Would she hate him for just leaving their family out of the blue? Those were Naruto's thoughts. He had watched Rias as she came to his store from time to time. She had matured into a beautiful young lady and the resemblance to their mother was definitely there.
He had occasionally observed her hunting stray devils. Of course, only those he believed she and her peerage could handle. No reason to put her at risk after all, he would make sure to eliminate all the more dangerous strays before anyone got wind of them. Making it look like accidents or the fault of other factions to cover his tracks. Strategically, she was good for someone her age and her aura was definitely outstanding as well, but she was careless and relied too heavily on overpowering the enemy. Granted, she was still young and had a ways to go. The potential was there. She and her peerage just need the right push. Thinking of her peerage, it would seem that Rias has a knack for saving people. She saved a half-fallen angel, revived a near-dead subject of the Holy Sword Project and gave new life to a half-vampire. Naruto had been observing her peerage occasionally, and while good for their age, they really needed to deal with their personal problems if they wanted to go further. Deciding that it was enough thinking for the night, Naruto decided to make plans for his weekend time with Lucy. Time skip. Weekend, are you ready to go, Lucy? Naruto asked as he waited by the doorway. Lucy was currently looking at a full-length mirror, adjusting her dress and hat till they were in a position that she was satisfied with. I am now. Where are we going today? Lucy asked as she wrapped her arms around Naruto's right arm, trapping it between her bosoms. Well, there is a fair in town, so I thought it would be a good idea to bring you there today. Unless of course you don't wish to go, then we can always do something else, Naruto said. No, it's fine, as long as I get to spend the day with you, Naruto-sama, Lucy said with a cute blush. Oh my, is the stoic Lucy actually blushing? You should show this cuter side of yourself more often around the others and not just around me. No one's going to judge you for actually showing feelings, you know. Well, Kuroka might tease the hell out of you, which she already does, so I don't see much of a difference, Naruto said as he kissed Lucy's cheek. He led her out of the house and they took a nice stroll towards the fair. But what if the others think I am weird or something? Lucy asked shyly. Lucy, you need to loosen up. There are a range of expressions that we as living creatures are able to show. You don't always need to confine yourself to the extremes of the spectrum. The world isn't black and white. Being gray is what differentiates us from the inanimate, Naruto said with a chuckle. The couple went around trying out various things at the fair, spending most of the time taking in the sights and sounds of the crowded fair that was unique to the usually sleepy atmosphere of quaint little Kuo town.
They tried out some of the activities and games, Naruto winning Lucy a cute little stuffed cat that reminded her of Kuroka. Naruto gave a nervous chuckle as he saw Lucy giving some loving attention to the toy, which hinted towards what he would occasionally do to his other bishop. It would seem that his pieces, although willing to live together, had some intrinsic dislike for their counterparts and were always trying to one-up each other, with the only exception being Kazuha and Miya. Fallen angel, Lucy commented softly, to which Naruto nodded. Yes, I believe they are trying to bait Issei for some reason. Oh well, let's leave it to my student. If he can't handle someone like this, then his training needs to be stepped up. Now come on, let us not bother ourselves with such matters. The important thing is us spending time together, Naruto said as he led Lucy to grab a bite to eat from one of the carts. After they were done eating, they decided to simply sit down in the park and chat for a while before going to find a place to eat dinner at. Naruto-sama, Lucy said, but was interrupted by Naruto. Naruto-kun, I may be your king, but you are also one of my mates. There is no need for such formalities unless of course you have that sort of kink like Tiamat, then by all means go ahead. Although that would be quite hot if you were really into the same things as Tiamat is. Damn it, Jiraiya-sensei has corrupted me, Naruto said. Naruto-kun, what made you choose me over my sisters? I mean, I am not as strong as Windy, Teslat or Cassandra. Why didn't you choose Cassandra for your bishop? What made you choose me? Lucy asked. Are you having doubts, dear? I chose you because the moment I laid eyes upon you and your sisters while you were still asleep, I felt a connection form between us. If you think about it, I could have taken Chiffon as a rook, quite a suitable position for her, but I chose you because you were special to me. You said it yourself, right? You might be weaker than your 3 older sisters, but you have the ability to understand, Naruto said. That I did. I still remember the shock when father told me that he had agreed to allow me to become your bishop in exchange for your services in the war against the Nova. I avoided you, fearing that I would lose what little humanity and family instead, but I couldn't be more wrong, and the greatest day of my life was when I finally accepted your offer. You gave me family and taught me what it means to be truly alive and what it means to feel, Lucy admitted as she leaned her head against Naruto's shoulder. His arm was wrapped around her shoulder. And I was right in that you were the one to become my first bishop. You were even better than Kazuha when it came to learning how to use magic. You were even able to start learning my version of elemental manipulation within 10 years after becoming a devil when it took me 15 after I gained the Rinnegan, Naruto praised. But you were figuring things out on your own while I was merely following your teachings, Lucy said. It would seem that the fallen angel and my student are here right now. Shall we make ourselves scarce for the moment? Naruto asked. Lucy nodded and Naruto activated a cloaking technique that would make them seem as though they weren't even there. Against more skilled opponents or censors this technique wouldn't work, but against the level of people he was trying to avoid, namely the fallen angel and Rias Peerage, this was more than adequate. Say, Issei, I had a really good time today, could you kindly do one more thing for me? A beautiful black-haired girl asked. What is it, Yuma-chan? Issei asked sweetly. Although inside he was cringing at having to blatantly lie like this, the fallen angel's intent to harm he was so clear that it was really disgusting to him to have to keep pretending until she made her move. Could you please die for me? Yuma asked. I was waiting when you would make your move, Issei said as he put some distance between himself and Yuma, who had reverted into her true form. She had become more mature and she now wore a leather outfit that left little to the imagination. Her pair of black wings were unfurled as a barrier surrounded the area. What do you mean? You are just a kid with a dormant sacred gear, how on earth did you know I was after you? Yuma asked. I can sense your intent, Yuma, or should I say fallen angel. Tell me, what is your real name and did Azazel order you to do this? Issei asked. I am Rainier, and no, Azazel only ordered us to watch you, but I am sure that once he hears of what I have done here he will reward me greatly, Rainier boasted as she created a spear of light. I expected as such, Issei said as he summoned his katana that Naruto gave him from his pocket dimension, seeing no reason to reveal his sacred gear for such a weak opponent. Die, human, Rainier said as she hurled the light spear at Issei. Issei channeled lightning magic into the katana, destroying the light spear when it came into contact with the blade. He pushed more magic through the blade, extending it out as a short spear of electricity that pierced Rainer's wing, making her body go numb.
I suggest you leave. I am merciful today, so I'll let you leave, but that was just a warning and to tell you that I can kill you at any time. So don't think you can disobey your superior's orders so easily and also enter someone else's territory without repercussion, Issei said coldly. Rainier glared at him before flying away with her tail between her legs. You can come out now. I know you've been following me for some time, Issei said as Kaneko and Akeno appeared from the trees. Era. How did you manage to sense us? You must be pretty good and you seem adept at using magic and a sword. I assume you know that we are devils. Akeno said. Issei simply nodded his head. Good. Our king would like to speak to you. She has an offer to make you. If you would please come with us, Akeno said. I would like to speak to Ms. Gremory as well, so lead the way, Issei said as he followed behind the two devils. Well, it seems my student handled that quite well. I am impressed. If that was him from a few months ago he would be too busy ogling the fallen angel to even notice a light spear piercing his gut, Naruto said, and Lucy nodded in agreement since she too had seen the changes that the young man went through. Shall we go have our dinner then? It's about time for it anyway. Where would you like to go, Lucy? The usual? Naruto asked as he carried her in his arms and proceeded to hop on rooftops towards her usual dinner place, making sure to place an illusion so no one would notice them. They had a quiet dinner at a fancy steakhouse that Lucy would always ask Naruto to bring her to, and throughout the dinner, Naruto noticed that something was on Lucy's mind. Deciding to ask her about it later on, he continued to eat dinner in peace while taking note of Lucy's actions. Once they were done, Naruto paid for the dinner and they left, Lucy leaning her head against Naruto as he had an arm wrapped around her shoulder while they went back home. Lucy, is something bothering you? Naruto asked with concern. No, there is nothing wrong, Naruto-kun, Lucy said with a smile that Naruto instantly knew was false. Don't lie to me, Lucy. I can feel your emotions in turmoil not only through my own abilities but also our bond from the evil pieces. Tell me, what is it that is bothering you? You can be honest with me, Lucy. I would do anything to make you happy, Naruto said, taking her hands in his. It's just that I am a little jealous of Yasaka, Kuroka and Kazuha. They look so happy bearing you and raising your children. I want to feel that happiness. I want to have a child with you as well, Lucy said. Are you sure about this? Having a child is not something one should think about so casually. That was why I invented the anti-pregnancy seal in the first place, so that I wouldn't have too many children that wouldn't be raised properly from all our fun activities in bed. Are you certain that this is what you want? Would this make you happy? Naruto asked as he cupped her chin and brought her face to look up at him. Yes, I am sure I am ready. I want to have a child with you. I want to experience that happiness that Yasaka, Kuroka and soon Kazuha experience, so please give me your child, Naruto-kun, Lucy said. Very well then, my precious Lucy-chan. Let's get started with the baby making, shall we? Naruto said as he pulled Lucy in for a kiss and teleported them to their bedroom to get started on fulfilling her wish.
Alright, that was this chapter. Mainly focused on interaction between Kazuha and Lucy based on what little reference material there is and my own take on their characters. Then we also had some advancement of the canon story with Issei joining the peerage as well as some of Naruto's observations of the peerage. Also, although I will mention lemons, I won't have lemons every chapter and have this become a smut story, probably going to have one lemon every 3 to 4 chapters at most. Omake freezing world. I am a devil. Alarm sounds. The party has been cancelled. All you genetics Pandora get to the plaza now. One of the Chevalier Pandora ordered. Elizabeth, what is going on? Arnett asked. I don't know, but we should get going, Elizabeth said. But what about her? Arnett asked. Era. It seems that the legendary Pandora can't hold her liquor. Lucy-chan, you should really not let your sisters drink if they are going to pass out so easily, Yusaka said as she, Naruto, Kazuha and Lucy approached the group. What my sisters do is none of my business. Besides, as our loving niece, Kazuha should be the one keeping us in line in trivial matters like this. After all, the rest of us are still naive to the ways of the world, Lucy said offhandedly. Oh great, now you are just pushing the blame to others. By the way, has anyone seen Kazuya and Satellizer? Wait a minute, that harlot. She is trying to seduce my cute little Otudo into doing indecent acts with her, Kazuha said with an expression of horror on her face. Hey. About Kazuya, Elizabeth said nervously, not knowing how to tell the enraged older sister that she was the one that pushed Satellizer to spend some quality time with Kazuya. Relax, Kazuha. You need to be less overprotective of your brother. After all, he is Satellizer partner, is he not? The fact that they still have yet to carry out a baptism not being considered, Naruto said. Anyway, what do we do about her? I think we should take her with us, no? Arnett asked. Arnett. Elizabeth. Kazuya shouted as he and Satellizer ran towards them. Oh, there you two are, Naruto commented offhandedly. What happened? Kazuya asked. We have no idea, Elizabeth responded. It would seem that there are intruders storming this base, and a level 1 alert to boot. These intruders certainly are something. In fact, they are going to appear in 3, 2, now, Naruto said dryly as the wall exploded and from the smoke emerged 4 enemy Pandora wearing some sort of armor. Ah, man, this is just perfect. It looks like we just found some genetics babies. The one dressed in a trench coat, Petty Laner, said as she chucked a defeated Chevalier Pandora away. Command room. Bring up the video feed on the intruders, Dr. Aoi ordered. As soon as he saw the stigmata pattern on their backs, he slammed his fist into the table. Naruto, do you read me? Dr. Aoi said through his communication seal. Loud and clear, Doc. I got 4 Pandora here with me. All of them are certified loonies equipped with what seems to be plasma stigmatas, Naruto said casually as though they weren't a threat. Hey, you stop ignoring us, you lousy limiter, Petty said. What's that? Handle the situation with my own discretion. Terminate them with extreme prejudice, you say. Well then, it looks like I will be entertaining you girls for the night. Before I kill you, could I please ask what you are doing here interrupting such a joyous occasion on a fine night like this? Naruto said as he stepped forward. You are going to be our opponent. You are just a pathetic limiter. I want to play with the genetics babies, so I will have you get out of our way now. We are here to kill Drive, Gengo Aoi, and we have a license to kill anyone in this base, Petty said. Naruto-san. Elizabeth and Arnett said as they were about to charge to help him, but Kazuha and Lucy stopped them. Are you crazy? Leaving your limiter to die? Arnett protested. You will not get in the way of our king. Unless Naruto-sama or Yusaka-sama orders it, we will not interfere, Lucy said coldly. Die, you stupid limiter brat. Petty said as she appeared in front of Naruto and prepared to deliver a vicious right hook, only to find herself unable to move when she stared into Naruto's red eyes. Naruto casually raised his right hand and with a single finger flick, sent her flying into the wall, cracking it upon impact. What in the world? Isabella said. How did he do that? Kazuya asked. Like Lucy said, if you were to join this fight, you would only get in our king's way, Kazuha said. I am afraid I can't let you kill Drive, Aoi. You see, he and I have a contract, and my pride as a devil won't allow that contract to be terminated prematurely by some Pandoras who should be in a mental institute, Naruto said as he loosened the collar of his shirt. Devil contract? What the hell are you talking about? I am going to turn you into a beautiful corpse, Isabella said as she blasted Naruto with a beam from her plasma weapon only to have Naruto activate his Rinnegan and absorb the energy. What the hell are you? Petty asked. I am Naruto Grimori, an ultimate class devil from the House of Grimori, Naruto said as he flared his devil wings out. Naruto-san is a devil. And what were you two talking about Naruto-san being a king? As in royalty? Elizabeth asked. He is technically royalty in devil blood, but devils have something called the evil pieces that allows him to revive other species as devils. They are represented by chess pieces. Naruto is the king, Yusaka is the queen, I am the knight and Lucy is the bishop. It was how I was brought back to life after the 8th Nova clash, Kazuha explained. Stop fucking with us, Petty shouted as she charged once more only for Naruto to sidestep and break her arm before flipping in the air and delivering a devastating dropkick to her back. He stepped on her back to keep her in place as his hand held onto her head. Now then, I want information, and seeing as you are the leader, you would know everything or at least most of it, Naruto said as he used his Rinnegan to extract Petty's soul, her body becoming lifeless. Interesting, Doctor. Aoi will want to know this. Anyway, I have what I want. It is time for you girls to disappear, Naruto said as he simply stared at them, summoning black flames to burn their bodies. Well then, now that the problem has been dealt with, let's get back to partying. Naruto cheered. Thanks for watching.